Okay, everybody, I hope you can hear me now. Okay, everybody, this is Walt Blackman. We are going to try this one more time. I hope you can hear me now. There was something going on with my sound, and I had to start over again. And if you can't hear me, please let me know. If you can hear me, that is great. Can't hear you, can't hear. So hopefully people can hear me now. And if you can't hear me, that would be that'd be kind of bad if you can't hear me. So if you can hear me, say yes. If you can't hear me, just let me know, and we will make sure that you can hear me, and we'll start. We'll try to fix it. I haven't been on for a little bit, everyone. And again, I'm Walt Blackman, and I am the state representative. And I am streaming from my home, and we're going to be talking about the budget today. Not a lot. We're going to just go into it a little bit. And I'm going to show you some numbers and some of what we are funding. And so before I get into this, again, if you can hear me, please say you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. We are streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, Walt Blackman. Go ahead and check out those channels. And again, if you can hear me, please say you can hear me. If you're not, I got it. I got it. We'll try to do something with that. So today, again, is the can you still can't hear me? Huh? Can't hear me. Well, everybody, if you can't hear me, I need to get off and try to fix this because it seems like I got some sound issues going on. And how you doing? Hey, can you hear me on there? If you can hear me, say yes. If you can hear me. If you can't hear me, say I can't hear you. Please. Oh, you can hear me. Oh, okay, good. Okay. So it looks like it may be on the other end for somebody because they were saying they can't hear me. So let's go ahead and get started. If you can't hear me, other people can hear me. Please adjust your sound. And we're going to go ahead and start over again. Got some other people to say they can hear me. Thanks so much. I do appreciate you. Please adjust your sound. If you can't hear me, because of that, I have other people that say they can hear me. And I don't like having to start my show over like that, but that's me. And I want to give a shout out to Molly because she hooks me up on these shows. So we're going to talk about the budget today, everybody. And the budget, folks are concerned about that. And why are they concerned about that? Well, you've been hearing in the news that Katie Hobbs will veto any budget that does not have 1, 2, 3. I'll talk about that in a minute. And what really needs to be known for you all that are not tracking on what's going on with the budget, we don't have a lot of money. And since we don't have a lot of money, we have to be careful of what we spend. Okay. And some folks will, when they see this budget, they're going to say, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. I can see where you're coming from." So let's go ahead and get into this right now, and I will pull this up. Again, I'm not going to get into the weeds with the budget. I am simply just going to get into just a little bit of it, and you'll be able to follow along if you like. And I'll try to be not so in depth with this. Okay, so this is the Arizona House Senate budget, and the budget bills are actually one big budget. The fee bill feeds into all the other agencies and the appropriations, as so on and so forth, which we have. So let's go ahead and move along really quickly. So what we're going to be talking about just a little bit, the 4-year general fund. We're going to be talking about the revenue structure. We're going to talk about the ongoing balance. We're also going to talk about the proposed funds transferred, and that's a detailed proposal of the interfund transfers between agencies. We're going to jump over to the agency level lump sum, and then we're going to top it off with the bill key provisions. Again, if you're already falling asleep on this, I got it. I know. So earlier this year, the House and the Senate put a budget out to the governor. We put not one, but two, and she vetoed both of those budgets. Then later on this year, about 3 weeks ago, we started doing our super cages. Now, the appropriations chair and the appropriations chair and finance chair over in the Senate, they've been working on this budget since last summer. And I want to give my props to Representative Livingston and also Senator Farnsworth. I believe he is on the Senate chair committee over there in the Senate. So as we start, we look at 2026. We look at the revenues 18.36. So 18.36 is what we are starting at. The total spending that we will see is $17.68 billion. Yes, that's B, ladies and gentlemen. And as we scoot over to 2027, we'll see sort of the same, 17.9, 28, 7.9, and then so on and so forth as we scoot across to FY29, and we will see 18.5. Now, I want you to look at the second line, the total spending. Now, those are conservative numbers right there. Now, some folks will say, "Oh, you guys are spending like drunken sailors." Well, really, we are not. Number one, the budget that you see here is a structurally sound budget that the Republicans came up with. Now, we had to make quite a few cuts. And during those cuts, we were still able to give Arizonans a $430 million tax cut. Now, that's going to no tax on tips. You get elders $6,000 rebates, so on and so forth. Deductions, not rebates, deductions. So we were looking out for seniors this year. So SB 1106 talks about the deductions. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, 6K for senior retirement deductions, SALT increase from 10 to 40, and the IRAs are 6K deductions. That's a big deal. It's a big deal because if you think about tax conformity, the impact that we have is that we are cutting $343 million in FY27 and $296 million of spending in our budget. And that is because we have conformed with the federal government, the Trump tax cuts, the 4-year tax conformity. Now, we are able to project more money coming in using tax conformity in the 4-year base. Now, some folks may say, well, what the heck is the dang tax conformity? So when you fill out your taxes here in Arizona, and most people have already done it, if we did not have the 4-year tax conformity, you would have had to go back and redo your budget. Thanks, Molly. Appreciate that. You would have to go back and do your taxes. And what we did, again, in the Arizona House and the Senate, Republicans, conservatives, we brought forth a good tax package, which follows along with the federal H.R. 1, the big, beautiful bill, the tax conformity package. Governor doesn't want to do that. Governor wants 2-year tax conformity, plus she wants us to use 1, 2, 3.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
So here's the problem with that, everybody. We do the 2-year tax conformity and use the 1, 2, 3, which dips into the state land trust, which funds K through 12 funding. We're going to have a problem when we get down the road. I'll show you that later. So we have a one-time revenue declining fast. So we had to make sure that we were able to sustain ourselves with revenues all the way from 26 to 29. Again, we're going to have revenues coming in at 1.3 million. We'll have a cash balance of 360 million, and we're transferring some of those funds into our correctional facilities as of 14.6 million. If you go across the board here from 26, 27, 28, and 29, you will see the increases and the decreases. Again, we are not spending like a bunch of drunken sailors. We have cut agencies to ensure that the 4-year conformity works for Arizonans. If you have to tighten your budgets, we need to tighten our budgets at the state level. These are some of the organizations that we are funding, plus 9 other agencies that are not on this slide. I just want to pick the top ones. I guess, not I guess, but as normal, we are funding the transportation, water infrastructure, the commerce economy, the Board of Regents, the Arizona Department of Administration, ADOA, Corporation Commission, Arizona Department of Housing, Trust Fund, Arizona Gaming and Fish, and other agencies. So you might say, well, what about the K through 12 funding and so on and so forth? Yes, that is being funded. Matter of fact, K through 12 funding is being we're approaching, let's see, 7 billion plus. 7 billion plus. So we're just about sending half of the revenues to K through 12. So if folks say we're not funding education, we're funding education. Some people may say we're not funding enough. My question is, what is the number then? So these are some of the target cuts that we are looking at. We're looking at education sectors. As you look at the budget there's a 7.12 reduction on 142 billion base. So doesn't mean we are hanging out 7.2 billion. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that we are not funding the education to ADE. We are putting it into the base of 142 billion. See what we are funding: universities, health and human services, and the Department of Corrections, DPS, and other operational agencies that need to be funded. Again, this will be on my page when you go to my webpage, Walt Blackman 4 LDs, LD7. You'll be able to pull these if you'd like. So, human services, which is a big deal. Access, DES, and ADE together account for over 70% of our ongoing spending. 70%, ladies and gentlemen, just on those 3 categories. So when we talk about access, we are looking at a formally adjusted of $183 million. Now, some folks may be saying, well, why are we spending so much on access? Well, we got more people on access. We have more people that don't have jobs that are working below a certain income, and they may need that. That's a big deal. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are not getting up and go to work, because they are. Some people can't afford it. What's going on today when we're talking about DES? We're talking about one-time child care of $44.8 million in DD. That's a high need. And there's a supplement of 17.9 into that, making sure we are taking care of our most vulnerable. And when we talk about education, Arizona Department of Education for 2027, the formula adjusted is plus $277 billion. Now, some folks may be saying, oh my God, what's all those numbers? Well, we are shifting, particularly in education, we are shifting from the land trust balance fund shift. And, there are some folks that can get into that in detail. I'll send out some of the clips from the appropriations meeting committee. However, what this is what we are looking at funding for education. Look at that last number, $8.4 billion for education. You do the math. We are funding education at a tremendously large amount of dollars. So when folks say that you're not funding education enough, we are just about over half of funding education this year. I said a little under. We are a little over half of funding education. And we talk about capital spending contracts. So capital are the projected one-time funding, which will lapse. We have 26, 27, 28, and 29. All you got to do is look at the number and you will be able to figure this out. I'm not going to read all the slides. However, you'll be able to check and see some of these numbers on my webpage. Again, I didn't want to go all the way through that. Again, other funds agencies to absorb the $274 million in the baseline. You'll see the reductions that we've done. Access, Department of Transportation, DES with other funds. Now, these are not deductions all the way. These are cost shifts within the departments. Now, when folks look at DES, we are not taking away $499 million, and we're not going to do the DCS. We are funding these agencies by shifting funds over. Now, we're talking about for the universities, and that's all three universities, ASU, NAU, and U of A, $1.5 billion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, with a B. It's going to be flat across the fiscal years. And let me tell you, we are making sure that we are able to keep kids going to our schools. However, we had to cut some funding to some of those organizations or those universities. It looks bad, but it's not that bad. Now, we look at commerce. We look at the state budget implementations, criminal justice and education, healthcare, transportation revenue. These are some of the statutory and permanent funding that we need to do. And I believe this is going to be the last slide, everybody. We're looking at the path forward. Again, we are looking at a structurally conservative budget. Okay, a structurally conservative budget. 26, we're talking about tax conformity. And 27, we're talking about we're going to execute that 5% and a lump sum reduction of 99.2. Again, I don't want to get way in the weeds with this. However, these are the steps forward. Okay, so listen. I know that folks are like, oh my gosh, man. First of all, that's a lot. What do you're killing me with this budget stuff. And yeah, I got it. Let me make sure I can get this thing back on here. And I got it. Folks are, worried about their dollars, and as we go forward, we know that. Let me fix this, everybody. Give me a second. I can fix this. Alrighty. I'm stop sharing out right now. Here we go. Okay. So the budget is the budget. It is what it is. A lot of folks that are out there are looking for dollars for their cities and towns, and the money isn't out there. It's just not there. We have inflation. We have high gas prices. We have just a lot of things that are going on. You go to the store, and money doesn't go as far as it did before. And because of that, folks are struggling. I mean, heck, I'm struggling too. Okay. And this is a period that really we got to buckle down. We got to tighten our belts. And, somebody out there might be saying, well, that's easy for you to say. You make all kind of money. Let me tell you, I do not. I do not. My retirement is a fixed income. And as you know, or you may not know, the legislative body does not pay a lot of money, 24 grand a year. You usually end up taking home 18 after taxes. So Not a lot of money in the legislature. And if you're on a fixed income like I am, a retirement income, you are feeling it as I am feeling it, as I know you are feeling it. Now, how do we get through this? Well, there are some solutions that we can do. And I showed you some of them. The 4-year tax conformity. That right there is going to help Arizonans put more money in their pockets. No tax on tips. No tax on wages under, I think it's under $24,000 a year. Okay. Deductibles. And altogether, we are talking about $460 million in tax cuts, not going to big business, not going to Wall Street or No Street. This money is going to everyday Arizonans. It's going back in your pocket. Now, why is it going back into your pocket? I got to tell you, because there's no money out there. So I went to go fill up my gas tank this morning, and I had a quarter gas left, right? And typically it only takes me about $80 to fill that up. I put $100 in my truck at a quarter of a tank, and it didn't fill all the way up. And on some of the meters on gas pumps, they stop at $100. So money is tight for everybody. Gas prices are high. I'm not going to fake the funk with you and say they're not high, because they are. You can look at the gas pump. You can see for yourself, and that's where voters are looking at. Well, do I vote with my wallet, or do I vote with an ideology? And I got to tell you, that's a hard decision to make. I cannot speak for the federal government, but I can speak for Arizona. Arizonans need to know that the legislative body, the Republicans, are working to get more money in your pocket. Now, the budget you saw, again, is a structurally sound budget, responsible budget. But we'll see what the governor wants to do. The governor may want to add other goodies into the budget. Now, I don't know. All I know is 1, 2, 3 has been coming out of the 9th floor a lot. And 1, 2, 3 is dipping into the state land trust. Now, should we take money out of there, or more money out of there? I don't know. You saw the numbers. We are funding education a little over half of our budget, and 70% of our budget goes to some of those critical agencies. 70%. Now, I always hear, well, there's not enough money for education. You all are not putting enough money to education. You saw the number. It's like 8 point something billion dollars. So my question right now to folks who say we are not funding education, give me a number. Give me a number. A number that fits the narrative that we are not funding education. Now, remember, we still have other agencies to fund. We still have to make sure that we're paving roads. We still have to make sure that we are improving infrastructure, building bridges, making sure that we are funding our cities and towns with shared revenue. Those are things that we have to fund. Constitutionally, we have to do a lot of these things. So 8 point something billion dollars is going to education right now, or for this budget. Again, if somebody can tell me where we're going to get the rest of the money at, please let me know. I'm on appropriations. I would love to send more money there. And you are absolutely right. Mountain Daily Star. Molly is a big proponent of public schools. She's also a champion for firefighters and a investigative reporter. If you remember, about 2 years ago, she busted the story wide open on Stolen Valor. I'm not going to say his name, not even worth it. However, getting back to what I was talking about, education is important. Education for public schools, education for home schools. Now, the argument is with ESAs. Some folks are saying that we fund ESAs too much. Some folks are saying that we are taking money from the public schools. Now, up here in northern Arizona, northeastern Arizona, we don't have a lot of charter schools. We don't have a lot of the type of schools that they have, charter schools that they have there in the valley. Now, we do have a significant amount of folks and parents that are using homeschooling, and they qualify for ESA. However, we cannot forget about our public schools. We cannot forget about our teachers. Now, I can only speak for the teachers that I have met in my district. I want to talk about we're talking about funding. I want to talk about the teachers in the Snowflake Independent School District and the teachers in the Sholo area and Overgarden, Heber, the teachers in my community, my LD. These teachers go out of pocket to make sure that their kids have what they need. They don't sit down and give up and say, "Oh, you're not giving us enough money, so we're not going to teach. We're going to do a walkout." No, they don't do that. What they do is they come together as a team. They find the resources that they need, and they get in the class and teach these kids. Now, the only problem with this is that I don't think teachers should have to come out of pocket and pay for supply, pay for the resources that they need. Not in every case, but teachers are doing that. Now, some folks may holler back, then y'all need to pay them more money. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, there's some ways we can do that. We can do direct line funding for salaries instead of money going to administration. Have direct line money to administration, direct line money to teacher salaries. But I want to put folks on the pew butts. The legislative body does not dictate who gets paid what. Those are school districts. So if you haven't been to a school district meeting or a school board meeting, I suggest that you go to one and learn the process and see how they do this. Ask them questions. Hey, how do you determine what teacher gets what salary? How do you determine on what facility gets dollars to improve their structures? How do you determine who gets a computer and who doesn't? So on and so forth. Those questions should be asked at the school board meetings. And I encourage people to go. I encourage people to go to their school board meetings and check that out. Now, we got about 5 more minutes left. Sorry we got off to a bad start today. My sound was jacking up. We have about 5 more minutes on this, and I'm just going to go through a little bit of admin stuff that we're going to be doing from here on out. Now, again, I haven't been on for a while. I do apologize. As you know, we've been working hard at the Capitol. We've had a few overnighters at the beginning. We've had some long days, and there are going to be some more long days to come because we're going to be working on the budget. Soon as we are out of session, you will see me more on the road, more knocking doors, talking to people, and finding out what is going on. It's hard to do when we're in session, but I'll be doing that as soon as we get out of session. Also, next week and next Saturday from 7:30 to 8:30, we are going to have a special guest, and that is the chairman of the Arizona GOP. Yes, everybody, Sergio, he will be here. He's going to talk about this upcoming election, and he'll also be talking about some of the things that we need to do as a party to get on board with this coming election. This is midterm season. We are going head first into this election season. Everyone has to get out and vote, everybody, because if you don't get out and vote, your voice is not going to be heard. Sergio's going to talk about that a little bit more next week, next Saturday, 7:30 to 8:30. Hopefully, I don't have any mechanical issues. Hope to see you all here. If you are interested in hearing the real news, not fake news, I need you to jump on over to Mountain Daily Star. That news, online news, is the one place where you get all the facts straight. You get them from a top-notch investigative reporter. I call her Molly. Molly. She'll give you some of that news. Make sure you log on to her Facebook, Twitter, like, share, and follow everybody. This is Walt Blackman. Again, welcome to the Walt Blackman Show. Next week, make sure you're here 7:30 to 8:30, and you can go to my web pages. You can go to Walt Blackman. You can go to my Apple Podcast for my podcast show, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and all of the podcasts that you want to hear. And you can also, if you want to watch this show, just go to YouTube, or you can go over to my TikTok, and you can also go to my website, votewaltb.com. And if you like to hang out in Twitter land, just go over to X Blackman4AZ. Everybody, this is Walt Blackman. Take care. God bless. And I will see you next week.